Hello, and welcome to our guide for the most popular and effective build of the League for the Deadeye Ascendancy. The Lightning Bow Deadeye is currently one of the strongest archetypes. It deals mostly lightning damage, so you will frequently shock, increasing your DPS even more. Lightning Arrow is a basic attack that creates chaining beams upon hitting an enemy. Combined with Herald of Thunder and a Tornado Shot, your clear speed is one of the highest in the game. Lightning Rods is, on the other hand, a much better skill against stationary targets, as it deals extremely high damage in the exact spot where the rods are. These rods don't just deal damage passively, you have to activate them with chaining lightning beam hits sourced from Lightning Arrow. This setup is not exclusive to the Deadeye Ascendancy, but it achieves the best results here. The Tailwind makes you safer and faster, which is always useful to have. The additional projectile improves both your area coverage and DPS, as you can spawn more lightning rods at once. The deflection is a new defensive layer that gives you a chance to reduce incoming damage by almost 50%. It is almost impossible to reach 100% deflection chance. You can reinforce your chances to avoid lethal hits, or focus on high maximum life and energy shield to make them less deadly. Lightning Arrow and Herald of Thunder will be enough to deal with most enemies. Against tougher enemies, use Lightning Rods. Add a Tornado Shot and Barrage to trigger them even faster. The Roe mount allows for unhindered movement while attacking. You will have high chance to completely negate incoming damage with evasion, or reduce it by half with deflection. The first hit will also be reduced by Wind Ward, and will immediately restore your energy shield with Ghost Dance. It's one of the fastest builds in the game. You will have great area coverage and unlimited mobility. Most enemies will die even before you notice them. The damage potential against bosses is also very high, thanks to the insane Lightning Rod overlaps. The build is an excellent League starter. You will have no problems with tier 15 maps with just basic gear. The upgrade potential is endless. There are no useful cheap uniques for this build. In every case, a rare item with a proper modifier will outperform niche uniques. At higher investment levels, you can use some popular, generic, and quite expensive uniques that suit most attack builds out there. If you have a pair of powerful rings, you can enhance their modifiers further with the Ingenuity Belt. It usually makes capping your resistances much harder. Those gloves require some adjusting to fit into the build, but potentially provide 30% extra elemental damage and easily fulfill the Trinity buff requirements for a massive damage boost. This charm provides some extra speed during mapping via the Onslaught buff. Use it only if you have a charm socket to spare. Bleed and freeze prevention are more important. The Heart of the Well Jewel has many variants. You will look for one that grants extra lightning or cold damage. It can also grant other useful modifiers, such as attack speed or increases to damage, but they are not that impactful. Another generally strong jewel. Here you will also look for added extra damage to your attacks. It is desired by most builds, so it is expensive. For DPS, you will need flat damage for attacks, gem levels, attack speed, and various increases to damage. Your defense comes from a mix of evasion and energy shield, maximum life, and deflection. You will also need to cap your resistances, get at least one modifier with mana leech, and some item rarity and attributes. Use a rare bow with the highest physical and lightning DPS you can find. Make sure it adds an additional projectile to your attacks. Additionally, look for gem level increases for your projectile skills. Quiver is an equally important weapon slot. Look for flat damage for attacks, various increases to damage, attack speed or arrow speed, and additional gem levels. It is also a great source of dexterity, which you will need a lot of. Look for added physical or lightning damage to attacks, ideally on a breach ring. Fill remaining modifiers with life and resistances. It can also grant you mana leech. Use a rare amulet to raise your gem levels and spirit and fix your resistance and attribute requirements. It should also provide maximum life or energy shield. Your body armor is your main source of evasion rating. You will also need a solid amount of maximum life. Other than that, look for resistance, deflection, attributes, or spirit. Helmet is another defensive slot. You will mainly look for maximum life, resistance, and attributes. It should grant you tons of energy shield, but if you can't get enough intelligence, you can settle for a hybrid one. You can use a pair of rare gloves that grants you a lot of maximum life, resistance, and attributes. It may also boost your damage via added damage or attack speed. It is mandatory to have at least 30% increased movement speed on your boots. You can also opt for the extra effect of socketed runes for even more movement speed. You can look for additional charm slots to deal with more ailment types, but you should mainly focus on the usual defense. A bit of extra mana can also be useful for better sustain. Jewels are a great source of uncommon and very useful modifiers, such as elemental penetration, movement speed, or life and mana recovery on kill. They can also provide the usual bonuses to your damage, evasion, or energy shield. Lightning Arrow sends a projectile which will hit additional enemies near its target with beams of lightning, making it great for clearing packs of mobs and activating lightning rods. The Innovate adds extra damage for clearing packs, but you can replace it with lightning exposure against bosses. The Stoicism is only worth it if you only use row mount to move around. You can replace it with mobility if you fight on foot instead. Lightning Rod fires arrows that stay in the ground. You can then hit the rod with a chaining beam from the lightning arrow to trigger a damaging pulse. Bind this setup to your second weapon set to activate the damage bonus of the Rigwald's Ferocity support. Remember that you can use the same weapon for both weapon sets now. After killing a shocked enemy with an Herald of Thunder active, your next attacks will trigger a lightning bolt that deals attack damage in a small radius. Use typical damage support gems to improve the clear speed further. You can also opt for extra utility here, such as adding cold damage or electrocuting weaker enemies. Tornado Shot creates a tornado that absorbs your projectiles and fires them around it. Use it to trigger more rods at once against bosses. The Living Lightning creates minions that use chaining beam attacks that can activate some of your rods. Unlike the Lightning Arrow, they do not bypass the cooldown of the pulses. Barrage empowers your next attack, causing it to fire extra arrows. Use it with Lightning Arrow to trigger rods faster. The repeated attacks deal less damage, so make sure not to empower the lightning rods by accident. Generating frenzy charges to cause more repeats is not worth additional investment. Enemies marked with Voltaic Mark are easier to shock, and the shock has an increased effect on them. Use it to further boost your damage against bosses. Alternatively, you can pick the Bullseye Notable and apply the critical weakness debuff with a Sniper's Mark. This route offers more damage at the cost of defense, and is also much more expensive to gear up. Ghost Dance creates ghost shrouds that restore your energy shield if you get hit. The recovery is based on your evasion rating. Reducing the duration of this skill reduces the wait time for generating new shrouds. A row mount makes you move much faster and attack with no movement speed penalty. Be careful, getting stunned will probably lead to your death. The loyalty support redirects portion of your damage to be taken by your mount instead, but it is only active if the row A is able to receive damage, which happens when you are not riding it. The quest rewards are very simple. For the campaign progression, you might choose the flask recovery bonus, but for endgame mapping, charms are more valuable. As a reward for the Venom Crypt, pick the protection against stuns. In the final acts, you will have multiple choices. Usually additional resistances are most useful. Fortunately, the build also excels at completing the campaign. You will unlock the core lightning arrow and rod combo very early, allowing for smooth progression right from the start. It is an attack build, so all your damage comes from flat damage available on your weapon, rings, and gloves. Try to upgrade them every few levels. It will massively speed up your progress. As you approach the end game, you will also want to incorporate some energy shield and deflection rating on your items. The build can also be easily adjusted for critical strikes. It will grant you more damage eventually, but usually requires sacrificing a noticeable amount of defense. It also requires very expensive gear, with critical strike modifiers to be worth it. There is only one important keystone on the passive tree to pick up, the Walker of the Wilds. It allows you to leech mana with elemental damage instead, but you still need a source of leech on your items. You are now ready to conquer the endgame with a lightning bow character. If you want to see more of our guides, we encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you soon in the next video.